Regan Slaymaker for International Boxing News, and I'm joined by the unified Super Welterweight World Champion Natasha Jonas. Natasha, how have you been today, mate?
I'm good. I'm good. I've just when my job finishes, the other job, the mum job, starts. So I've been running about trying to get her to all their activities today.
Perfect. I mean, I hope it all went swiftly today as well. Obviously, busy fight week as well. I mean, we'll jump straight into it. So, obviously, fight with Kandi Wyatt, opportunity to become a two-weight world champion on Saturday. I mean, it doesn't get much bigger than this, does it?
Well, I'm hoping it does because I'm hoping there's things next. But like I keep saying, I can't look past the now because, um, if this doesn't happen on Saturday, then none of the next stuff happens. But I'm fully focused on Saturday. But yeah, hopefully we can make it better. We was always going to struggle to make it bigger than 2022 after the year we had, but this has got it off to a good start.
Definitely, I do want to touch on 2022. I mean, what a year you had last year. But how has camp gone for your fight with Kandi Wyatt?
Yeah, it's camp's camp. It's tough, it's hard, it's grueling. It's you have good days, you have bad days, but at the end of it, you're fully complete and ready to go. So, um, yeah, it's been a long time. It's been a long camp. I've literally been in camp since January. I thought I was going to box in March, didn't happen. Then it was got moved to April on the Josh Taylor card, and that got cancelled. Then there was like, okay, wait till May, and then we got to May. There was like, there's a big card in June that's local. If you want to wait till that, so I thought, I may as well. And then obviously, it got delayed again, but it's finally here. Like I say, I've been in camp for all this time. I'm just looking to, just get the dust off and get a bit of my frustration out and and put on a good performance.
I mean, I think everyone else is looking forward to your ring return on Saturday, Tasha, as well. But is it slightly frustrating? Obviously, you said with all the delays, kind of waiting for cards, getting like bigger cards around the corner, and then them being delayed. Was it slightly frustrating to kind of slow down the momentum that you built from the last year?
100%. Like I obviously went away at the end of last year. It was a busy year. I just needed time to recuperate, regenerate, and you know make up for a bit of lost time with my daughter. So we did go away for 3 weeks, and even in that time, I was still like back and forth and trying to sort out Clarissa deals and whatever. But um, yeah, it felt like I wanted to hit. That's why I was like, yeah, I want to be out straight away, and there's a certain type of confidence and air that you get when you're a champion and when you've had a good year and some good wins behind you. And I wanted to keep that going. Like I say, unfortunately, it hasn't. It's through nobody's fault. It just hasn't been the case. So yeah, you've got to pick up where you left off.
100%, and you are with I think your fourth um fourth world title fight on the spin, and also kind of in your second weight division as well. I mean, kind of what do you know of kind of Kandi Wyatt? Obviously, solid fighter, lost to Jessica McCaskill, but also beat Kirsty Bavington after kind of Kirsty going on some run, obviously winning a European title as well. But what do you know of Kandi Wyatt from kind of the professional scene?
Yeah, there isn't much to see of her online, if I'm honest. Obviously I know the result with Kirsty and I've trained with Kirsty for camps before. I've obviously been delving into what she knew and what she could find. Um, and yeah, I just know that she's going to be tough. Even the fights that are online, she's tough. She's game. She'll keep coming. She'll keep taking shots. And she doesn't back down. She's coming to do what she did with Kirsty and just spoil the party. A win by any means, and I think that's what she'll come to do. But yeah, I prepare for the best version of her. I put the best version of me forward that I can. And yeah, the best person will win on the night.
Definitely, and we look forward to seeing it, and we hope it's you as well, Natasha, to kind of build on that momentum from last year. I mean, well, obviously we've touched on last year briefly. I mean, it goes without saying it was the best of your career. I mean, winning female fighter of the year with countless boxing organizations, including ours. I will have to put that in there as well.
Yes, mate.
No worries. I mean, how did it feel to kind of get that level of recognition, as well as it being kind of the same year as well that you won all of your world titles?
I think it just topped off like a perfect year for me, to be honest. And there was times in this journey that it looks so far away. And it's, a testament to myself, to Joe, to my family and friends and fans that stuck by me and supported me all the way, even in the bad times, to come out and get them things. And for any young person looking and watching, we so often celebrate all the good stuff, and it was great to win 3 times, and it was great to win the 3 belts, but it's also the bad stuff that you have to overcome, and it's not anything that you want, that a dream that you're going to strive for, is, if it's big enough, you're going to have setbacks. And I hope that to any young kid watching, that you should never give up, and you dream, any dream that you set yourself, any target that you set yourself, is possible, as long as you're willing to go through them good, the bad times as well as the good, make the sacrifices and put the hard work in.
100%. We echo that statement. And I mean, what a year it was, I think. And I was at the fight against the Care, your final unification of the year. And I mean, it was an unbelievable performance from yourself as well. I think I ran into Scott Quigg and made sure I told him it right at the end of the fight as well. I mean, all going kind of your way on Saturday. Like you said, we don't want to look past it, but you mentioned yourself, there are kind of obviously bigger fights as well on the horizon. I think there is rumours that Jessica McCaskill and Sandy Ryan are unifying the other titles as well this year. Is it kind of very much your aim to unify the welterweight division next, like you did with the super welterweight division last year?
Potentially, when this fight's over, again, we'll sit down with Boxer, and I'll sit down with Joe, and we'll discuss what the best option for me is. It's took a very long time to be in this privileged position, and like I said, it hasn't always been easy, and I was sometimes waiting for someone to give me a shot and give me the nod. So to be in this position and to be able to choose is a privilege that I'm not taking lightly, and I do want them big fights. So yeah, we'll see what the options are after. But like I said, it's all about winning on Saturday first. None of them options happen if I don't win.
100%. And I mean, it's a well-deserved privilege as well from your part, Natasha, as well. And I mean, I've got to ask this question because I was such a big fan of the first fight during lockdown. I mean, obviously you still hold the WBO and WBC titles in the weight division above, but is a rematch with Terri Harper kind of a thing of the past now? Is it in the back of your mind at the time being?
Yeah, definitely for the time being. I've made no secret to say that I wasn't happy with the agreements and how the last fight went, and how we didn't get the immediate rematch that we were promised, and the disrespect from our team, and all other things. So I've made no thing, and people's it makes me laugh sometimes when you see people saying, "Oh, she's a duck. She ducked this one. She ducked that." I'm ducking Terri Harper, but I'm asking for Katie and Chantal fight. So that shows how much of a duck I am.
Definitely. I mean, it's untrue. I don't think, especially it shows with the amount of fights within the female code that are being made at the moment. I don't think anyone is ducking anyone. I think it's a ridiculous statement to say it from any of your parts as well. I mean, I did see a clip from an interview with Joe Gallagher done with Boxing Social. And I mean, obviously, you spoke to me, you spoke very highly of him, you spoke very highly of him already in this interview as well. And he was kind of asked what was next for you after this fight, and he said he'd love for you to retire with a win on Saturday because you've won everything and there's nothing more you can nothing more than you can do kind of within boxing. You've kind of got your flowers and so forth. I mean, he did say obviously the final decision was yours, but he's sure something, and I'm sure this is something you've spoken about with him, but kind of obviously what does it feel when kind of Joe has said something like that? I don't know if you've seen it, but what did you think when you
I've
first
seen
saw
it.
it?
I just laugh. He's been saying that since Namas, so that's nothing. That's nothing new. And it was kind of something that we had spoke about before. Like, what happens? What happens if you win? What happens if you lose? And we were like, well, if I lose, I'll retire. And he was like, well, if you win, what more do you want? And I was like, well, we'll see. Um, and when I got that Namas, I feel like a big weight was lifted, and that like I could get back to enjoying the boxing, and obviously within that fight, I felt like I didn't. There were skills that I'd picked up and learnt in that camp that I didn't really get to use. So I was like, no, I definitely want another fight, Joe. And then obviously we was trying to sort out the Hannah Rankin fight, and it wasn't possible. And then we, as luck would have it, Bergholt and Brackhouse fell through, which meant that Bergelt was available. She had the WBC, which is a belt I've always said I've wanted. Got it. And then, again, we got to that, like, what do we do now? And then again, options just opened, and Decay wanted to fight, and it was such I think it was 8 or 9 weeks between the Decay and Bergelt and Decay. But again, when the opportunities like that present themselves, I was full of confidence. I'd just come off the back of a good win, 2 good wins. I was 2-belt champion. I thought, yeah, let's do it. And again, for this, it's just like an opportunity presented itself. I feel like it's an opportunity I believe I can win. So why not take it? Why not? It'd be stupid to turn it down. When I get to that stage when I feel like either one camp's getting not necessarily physically but mentally too hard, or I'm just not enjoying it anymore. That's when that's when I will retire. But as of now, times are getting quicker. The weights are getting heavier. Everything's improving. So I feel like I'd be doing myself an injustice to call it a day. When I still feel there's more I can do. And yeah, Joe's always going to be Joe. He's always going to be controversial and say stuff, and we do have these conversations, but because eventually there will be a day when it comes, but I just don't feel like it's anytime soon. I just don't feel like it's now. I feel I've got another, a couple of big camps in me. And yeah, I want to go out on a high and go out flying against, people that will put my boxing brain at ease, and it's so difficult with boxing, because obviously there's fights that fans want, there's fights that Sky want, there's fights that Boxer wants, and there's fights that I want. So we've got to come to a happy medium and just something that'll please everyone, which is sometimes virtually impossible.
Definitely, and I think when I like my first reaction when I saw the Joe clip, I was kind of shocked, but then I remembered that kind of Joe's very honest, and I feel like he's so honest with you. He always has been with all of his fighters, and I mean, the first people he's going to be honest with is you guys as well. But we hope that you can continue the Miss GB name forever in boxing, Natasha. Obviously, it's
I
highly,
wish.
yeah,
I should have it in me.
definitely. I mean, as well,
I'm
kind of.
not, to be fair as well, I'm not one of them boxers that's been boxing since they were 10.
Hmm.
I'm like, I didn't start till I was 21. So like me coming into my prime probably is the same as, someone who's 28, getting into their prime, because my boxing life hasn't been that long. It obviously has been 20 years, but some of the other younger, like Clarissa, like Savannah, like, some of the lads, they've been boxing since they were like 10. That hasn't been me. So yeah, I've had, a bit of a late bloomer, and nothing's changed.
Definitely, I think one thing is, especially with the guys and girls who are on Team GB, there's a lot being made. Whilst a lot of them haven't had, if you look at Anthony Fowler, hasn't had many fights, but he was in those wars kind of in the amateur code as well, and it has caught up with him, and he's had to retire very early on. I mean, as well, one thing that kind of stuck out to me when I saw, I think you posted it on your Twitter the other month, is that kind of you have started one thing that will and should continue after your career has ended, but you started managing fighters now as well. I mean, it's becoming more and more common that active fighters are doing this. But why was it right for you to start managing fighters during your career?
I think there's, it opens doorways for young fighters. And I honestly, I didn't really, I got my manager's license to manage myself. And I wasn't 100% sure that I would go into the management side. And then I met little Mickie, and had a good conversation with him. And I thought, this is a journey that we can both do together. We are both new to it. And I'm definitely brand new to the management side. And I was as honest as I could be. There might be mistakes that I make, but, I will wholeheartedly try and do the best for you. And like I say, yeah, it was just a good connection with him, his family, and his team. So I thought, yeah, why not take the chance and I was going to say I'd like to say so far he hasn't done me wrong, but we haven't actually got to that to the licensing thing. We've just done our license, we just done our license meeting. Hopefully he gets accepted, and we've got to do the medicals, and then I'll have my first boxer.
Perfect. I mean, obviously, like you said, we need to long way to go. We need all those processes to kind of be ticked off. But kind of what can you tell us about Mickie Tallon? Kind of what can we expect from him going forward? What have you seen in the gym from him?
Listen, he's young, he's hungry, he's dedicated, and he's got a tenacity about him. You know, he doesn't let the older lads in the gym bully him around. He stands his ground, and I'm not saying that like he stands there and just fights. He's smart with it. He's learning every day, and yeah, the kid hasn't missed a session since he's decided to come up and train alongside us. And you've got to take your hat off to that. Clark Smith was the same. He trained for 2 years alongside us before he'd even stepped in the ring. And I think that's the stuff that people don't see. He's there. He's making them trips up to Manchester, and he's putting in the shifts.
Perfect. I mean, we'll watch this space for Mickie Tallon as well, and I know that Clark Smith's on the boxer card on Saturday as well, so keep an eye out for him as well. And I mean, I just want to. My final question, Tasha, and again, thank you for your time today. I do want to get your opinion, kind of, on the main event: Franchon Crews-Dezurn versus Savannah Marshall for the undisputed super-middleweight titles. I mean, huge fight for the division. I mean, I think it is 1 versus 2 in that division. They're the two best fighters. I mean, how do you see that fight going? A very intriguing fight all round.
So I think Sav's coming off the back of a big loss to Clarissa. I think the last two fights for Crews-Dezurn haven't been spectacular. Haven't really blew me away. But I know from the amateurs, and I know from her Clarissa's debut, that she's got fight in her, and she's got good fights in her and good skills. So I expect it to be a really competitive fight. I do think Sav wins, and I think because of the Clarissa and how it happened, I think she'll be wanting to put on a big show to do that.
Perfect. I mean, well, I'm very excited to watch that fight as well on Saturday night. I mean, Natasha Jonas, thank you very much for your time today again, and a best of luck on Saturday in your world title fight against Kandi Wyatt.
Oh, cheers, thank you, and thank you
Cheers.
for being supportive, and thanks for having us.